on that note, let's bring on board now Vishal Manchanda, pharma analyst at Systematix Group, to discuss more on this opportunity as well. Vishal, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining in. Ekta has highlighted key points that now what comes into play is going to be the Canada's patents expiring as well, and how that opportunity actually comes for India. So let's start with that. Who's set to benefit from this and the opportunity that lies in terms of numbers for the Indian companies?
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. So I think we have three large markets that are up for patent expiry: India, Canada, and Brazil. So Canada and Brazil being the larger ones, if we look at the imminent opportunity, like the next 1 year. But so in terms of size, Canada and Brazil is large, but you really don't know whether approvals will pan out or not the way we expect. So for Canada, I think there are about 7 or 8 generic filers, while for Brazil, I think there are about 12 generic filers in Brazil. So we need to figure out how many of those get approvals, whether it will only be 1 or 2, or maybe all of them get approval in the first year. So that would define the competitive intensity and also the price erosion in these markets. But even if you assume a 50% price erosion, Canada and Brazil can add about $500 million in terms of the generic market value. And India would probably scale up a bit slower, like it would scale up over the next 3 to 4 years. The first year probably can be between 1,000 to 2,000 crores incrementally for the generic players. And then it can probably go to 8,000, 9,000 crores at its peak.
Okay. Vishal, just wanted to narrow down on the big event which is taking place on Sunday, where semaglutide goes off patent in Canada on the 4th of Jan. Till now, Dr. Reddy's, Sun Pharma haven't got any regulatory acceptance, and neither have other companies. But is there a chance that companies such as Apotex and the foreign players such as Teva could possibly get approval earlier than, say, Dr. Reddy's and maybe Sun Pharma, and change the dynamics or the potential revenue estimates?
Yeah, I think predicting that whether Apotex or Teva or Sandoz can make it earlier would be difficult. It all depends upon the regulators' scrutiny. As such, getting approval for peptide drugs is difficult. So we have not seen too many peptide approvals coming in for generic companies. Like if you look at liraglutide in Canada, there are not many approvals that have come in for liraglutide in Canada. Likewise, even for liraglutide in US, there are very limited approvals. So this is another peptide that has expired in certain markets. So going by precedents, I think approval will be challenging, and anyone who can do it ahead of others would be the largest beneficiary in these markets.
Okay. So if you had to buy a stock based on a GLP-1 opportunity, which one would it be? And I'm considering, Canada, India, Brazil, all of them. Biocon looking at emerging markets, Ajanta tying up for it, OneSource, as well as Gland Pharma in the back end. Which would be possibly that one stock which would be the best way to play the GLP opportunity in 2026?
Right. So I think among the three markets, so like we have the emerging markets, we have India, and we have the regulated markets, Brazil and Canada. The India market is more predictable in terms of whether companies can monetize there or not. But probably the India market would ramp up slowly. It will not kind of ramp up to its full potential in the first year. So among the branded players in India, companies that are better poised would be Sun, Eris Life Sciences, Lupin, Cipla, and Reddy's that can do well in India. But I think the best probably Sun and Eris would do the most.
Okay. Vishal, analysts are expecting approval and launch by second half of 2026. What are some of the execution risks that an investor should watch out for? Yes, you've spoken about some of the branded players which could do well. But what about the sustainability of margins in GLP-1 drugs, since we are also talking about pricing erosion and other aspects with respect to risk that an investor should be aware of before making investments basis this particular drug?
I think in markets like India, prices would fall. But even if, my sense is, even if they fall 70, 80% from where they are today, companies would still get to earn meaningful margins on the opportunity, and it would still be a very profitable one. As far as the regulated market goes, I think there would be some discipline in terms of the price erosion that happens even in the regulated markets. And again, like many companies have filed, but not all of them will get approval. So I think overall, this will continue to be a decent margin opportunity for generic companies, even for regulated and India markets.
What do you mean by decent? I'm just trying to understand what kind of margins are we looking at here?
So I think initially this probably can fetch 40-50% EBITDA margins, and then probably it can bottom down around 25-30% EBITDA margins when prices erode to their lowest levels.
Okay. Well, Dr. Reddy's, there was some other news as well with regards to their biosimilar denosumab, which has received a complete response letter. How important or material is it?
So I think they've been trying to kind of build on the biosimilar space. Had they got this approval, they would have been able to kind of so essentially what DRL is trying to do is create a portfolio of biosimilars and build and get into the regulated market. So this was one of the key additions to their portfolio. The largest opportunity for Reddy's going forward is the abatacept biosimilars. And probably the denosumab biosimilar and rituximab biosimilar, where they are stuck, these are actually preparatory steps. They are creating a portfolio so that they are prepared in terms of the commercial infrastructure to monetize on the larger opportunity, which would be the abatacept biosimilar. So I think this is certainly a setback, and I think it should delay the approval at least another 12 months, I think.
Okay, all right, Vishal, we're going to let you go on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and speaking with us. So